vote today on the next Speaker of the House. The House is scheduled to start voting at noon there in what could be a showdown for the gavel. Republicans will try to elect Jim Jordan from Ohio, though not all of them are on board just yet with him. Joining us this morning is Alabama Congressman Robert Aderholt of the 4th District. Good to see you this morning, Congressman.
Good morning. Good to be with you. Thank you.
On X, formerly known as Twitter, you said that you told Jim Jordan you fully support him to be the 56th Speaker of the House. He needs 217 votes total. Does he have them?
I think he's very close. I was with him last night. We had a conference meeting. I spoke to him, and he tells me that he is very, very close. I think that he's within a couple of votes. He may be a couple of votes short this morning, but I think that by the end of the day, I think he will get the votes. We could go until tomorrow because we could have multiple votes, but I do think this is a time where everybody has got to come together, rally around a speaker. As you know, the world is literally burning down around us, and it's imperative that we move forward with our business in the House of Representatives. And without a speaker, we're unable to do so.
In recent days, Alabama Congressman Mike Rogers originally said he was willing to work with Democrats to get a speaker elected, basically opposing Jordan. Since then, he announced on X that he has decided to support Jordan. What was your initial reaction when you heard Rogers would go that far to keep Jordan out, to negotiate with the other party?
Yeah, well, I think Congressman Rogers is intention as well, but you know, I don't think he and Congressman Jordan have had a close relationship. They've had some disagreements on some issues, and I think that was his initial reaction. But I think after reflecting on it, I think that Congressman Rogers saw that that was not really a viable option and shouldn't be. And I think that he realized that we've got to work together as Republicans, and I think that was just his initial reaction. But I think after he thought about it, and certainly after getting feedback from other members and others, that it's just that didn't make sense to go down that road.
If Jim Jordan is the next Speaker of the House, is there concern for the delegates from the congressmen and women from Alabama? You all on the Republican side hold some pretty powerful positions and committees there. Is there any concern that you would lose your position as chair in those committees?
I don't think so. I mean, I think Jim Jordan wants to keep the players in place that are there now. I'm fortunate to be on the Appropriations Committee and chair of the Labor, Health, and Human Services Subcommittee. Congressman Rogers, of course, is chairing the Armed Services. And we have, of course, Gary Palmer continues his role as the policy chairman. So I think the team will stay in place. Jim, I've known Jim a long time, and ever since he first came to Congress, he is a good man. And he's a conservative, and that's why I like him. He's not conservative, not just on the social, not just on the economic issues, but also on the social and value issues. He believes in that we've got to get a woke culture out of our schools and out of the U.S., and that we need to make sure that we get back to the values that this country was based on. And I believe he is the one that will stand strong for those and will be a leader in that regard.
Congressman Robert Aderholt, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
Well, developing this morning, Gardendale's mayor is responding to complaints about the condition of Newfound Road. Stan Hoagland posted